I do think the death toll will unfortunately keep on climbing, and we'll see a lot more injured people as well, I fear.
At least 30 people have died in earthquakes in Japan. Tim Hornyak is a reporter in Japan. He brought us some of the first news of that yesterday. He joins us again. Morning to you, Tim.
Good morning.
What's the latest that you're hearing this morning?
Yes, as you mentioned, the death toll has climbed to about 30 people, a roughly equal number of people injured. Rescuers are racing against time to find victims located in the rubble of many, many collapsed buildings and homes in the Noto Peninsula on the west coast of Japan, where the devastating quake struck yesterday. They're being hampered by blocked, damaged roads. Helicopters are moving in to get a better picture of the situation, and we've seen pictures of a large, SOS sign formed out of chairs or something on the uh, grounds of a facility in Suzu City near the epicenter of the quake. And so it seems that they're still trying to get a hold of a picture of what's going on while racing to help people who are trapped.
For many people, of course, the ghost of Fukushima will be in their minds, particularly when there were those tsunami warnings, which seem to have been in abeyance now. How do the two events compare in your view?
Well, the 2011 quake that struck northern Japan was really something of biblical proportions, the biggest in history in Japan, and uh, up to 20,000 people were killed in that devastating event. And so when this one began, it looked like it could become something that was enormous as well, and it certainly is big, but it's not on the same scale as the Tohoku quake of 2011. However, I do think the death toll will unfortunately keep on climbing, and we'll see a lot more injured people as well, I fear.
Um, will it be seen though? And look, every death is horribly tragic, and it's maybe wrong to use this word, but does it also demonstrate the success Japan has in building for earthquakes, building around earthquakes, being aware that's part of their sort of tectonic reality?
Absolutely. We're in a very seismically active archipelago here. That's the reality. The Japanese are trained from a young age to go through disaster drills. There's also investment in technology. We saw footage of a expressway in the Hokuriku region that was affected yesterday of an overpass that was shaking on top of some shock absorbers that were withstanding the violent tremors. And so people were just sort of walking nonchalantly under this overpass as the entire thing was rocking back and forth. So that's remarkable too. And of course, the regulatory system that mandates structural soundness of buildings is something that I'm sure has saved many lives. But to this date, there are still older structures where people are living, wooden structures with the tile roofs that tend to fall down, and those are much more vulnerable to violent quakes that we saw.
Do the Japanese sort of take pride in the fact that it's one of the safest countries for earthquakes to happen? I mean, I'm struck by the fact that the magnitude of this earthquake is very relatively similar to that in Turkey and Syria, and there were tens of thousands of people killed in that event. Is this sort of a source of civic pride that Japan has about responding to earthquakes?
I wouldn't say there's boasting or anything like that
No.
here, but there is a sense of pride in even some of the historical heritage surrounding earthquake resistance technology. For example, the Tokyo Sky Tree, which is one of the tallest structures in the world, was erected using technology know-how that was incorporated into ancient Japanese pagodas. And it's a system in which the central pillar supporting the structure can rock back and forth, so absorbing those shock waves from earthquakes. And so, you see things like this, and they are proud of that heritage and how that can help modern buildings withstand quakes. But I think they're much more focused on making sure newer buildings are quake resistant and keeping them up to code.